You know how sometimes you come across a text that's so strange, so symbolic, it feels like you're trying to solve a riddle from a completely different world? Well, that's exactly what we're doing today. We are diving headfirst into this really complex and fascinating medieval text called the Seventh Vision. It's this wild allegorical journey, and we're going to see if we can unpack its mysteries together.
So the whole thing kicks off with this incredibly striking image. Right at the western corner of some building, there's this marvelous, strong column. It's described as purplish black, the color of steel, and so huge that its size is just immeasurable. This column, it's the central mystery we're here to solve.
And yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? What is this thing, and what on earth does it mean? Because this is clearly not just some pillar holding up a roof. Every single detail about it, its color, where it's located, everything is absolutely packed with symbolic meaning. So our job is to decode it piece by piece.
Okay, so here's our game plan for unpacking this whole vision. We're going to start with the column itself, obviously. Then we'll dig into its dual nature, how it's both a symbol of unity and, get this, a tool for judgment. After that, we'll look at the path to salvation it presents, and then we'll wrap it all up by tying it back to the core message, this idea of an inseparable bond.
All right, let's start with the column itself. This marvelous, strong structure, what does it really represent? Well, the text tells us it's all about the unity of three.
And the text gets really specific with these details. It's at the western corner. It's this deep purplish-black color. It's perfectly smooth, steel-colored on the outside, and just impossibly large. Now, these aren't just random architectural notes, you know? They are clues pointing to a much, much deeper spiritual idea.
And boom, there it is. The first major reveal from the text. The column is the Trinity. This massive, powerful, unified thing is meant to be a physical stand-in for a totally abstract spiritual concept. So we're not just looking at a pillar anymore, we're looking at a symbol for God.
So, to be super clear, when this vision talks about the Trinity, it's hammering home this idea of a perfect, indivisible unity. Just like that column is one, single, smooth, immeasurable object, the three persons of the Trinity are presented as one single essence of divinity. And that word, indivisible, that's the key to the whole thing.
But okay, this symbol of unity, it's not just sitting there passively looking majestic. It also has a really sharp, powerful, and honestly kind of severe function. It's not just a pillar, it's a sword of judgment. And this is where the vision takes a fascinating turn. This column isn't just a symbol of being together, it's also a weapon. Its three sides are described as being sharp as a sword, and they are actively striking down different kinds of unfaithfulness. So it's both a foundation and an instrument of judgment, literally cutting away anything that threatens that core unity.
The first act of judgment we see is against something described as dry straw. The vision sees this straw being cut down and scattered everywhere by one of the column's sharp edges. So what's that about?
And lucky for us, the text tells us exactly what it's about. The straw symbolizes people whose faith is totally empty. It's, faith without any action, without real belief behind it. And according to the vision, that kind of faith is as light and useless as dry straw, just easily scattered by the power of the Trinity.
All right, next on the chopping block is a collection of many little wings. Again, it's such a specific and kind of strange image. These wings are apparently flying around with a lot of pride right before they get sliced to pieces.
This is such a powerful metaphor for hubris, right? The wings represent the pride of people who just follow their own path, creating division and splitting off from the group. So the act of cutting them down symbolizes a judgment against the kind of arrogance that leads to disunity.
And the final act of judgment we see here is against decayed wood. Just like the straw and the wings, this wood is cut off and just left to lie on the ground, totally worthless.
The meaning here is pretty direct and, very much a product of its time. The decayed wood symbolizes deep-seated division, a schism. In the medieval world, which was so concerned with institutional unity, a schism was seen as a kind of spiritual rot that had to be decisively cut away to keep the whole body healthy.
But all this cutting away, it's not just about destruction. In the logic of the vision, judgment actually clears the path. It's about removing what's broken to make room for healing and for salvation. And that brings us to the three witnesses of that salvation.
Which leads to the next logical question, right? If the column judges all this unfaithfulness, what's the path forward for the faithful? Well, the vision gives an answer, and it comes through three symbolic elements that all work together in perfect harmony.
The path to redemption is laid out with this really beautiful clarity. According to the vision, three things bear witness to salvation. You've got the Spirit, which cleanses and gives life. You've got the water, which purifies, and you have the blood, which redeems and revives. And together, they represent a complete process of spiritual renewal.
And that brings us to our final section, where it all comes together. We're going to tie everything, the column, the judgment, the salvation, back to the central theme of this whole vision, an inseparable, indivisible unity. What's amazing is that the text itself almost seems to stand back in awe of its own central mystery. It asks the question directly, how? How can three things be so distinct in what they do? One judging, others saving, and yet stay a single, indivisible, unchangeable thing. It's a really beautiful and profound question to ask.
And here is the answer the vision gives us. It's just a statement of pure, inseparable unity. Each part exists within the others, and they literally can't work without each other. The judgment, the salvation, the very essence of being, it all flows from this one unified source. Just like that single immense column we started with.
Just look at this final image from the source text. It perfectly captures the complexity we've been talking about. It's this dense tapestry of figures and symbols, all interconnected, all trying to visualize this incredible idea of a power that's multifaceted, yet completely unified.
So, what do we take away from all this? This medieval vision presents a power that is, all at the same time, a foundation, a sword, and a source of redemption. It leaves us with a really deep question to think about. In our own world, which so often feels fractured and pulled apart, what does it truly mean for something, or someone, or an idea, to be powerful, multifaceted, and yet completely, truly inseparable?